Ejaculation is not merely a simple physiological reflex, it is a profound biological phenomenon that carries hidden layers of meaning and value. Yet, most men treat it only as the predictable end of sexual release, or worse, as an inconvenience to be dealt with quickly. Intimate wisdom shares that, when approached with awareness and intention, this very moment can transform into a conscious, meaningful, and deeply intimate experience with one's own body. Men often underestimate the uniqueness of their own ejaculation. For many, it becomes a repetitive routine, especially during masturbation, where release is treated as nothing more than a byproduct to be cleaned up and forgotten. Rarely do men cultivate a positive, mindful, or intentional relationship with this powerful aspect of their sexuality. Paragraph 1. Many men view ejaculation simply as a mechanical finale, but in reality, it can be experienced as a profound, sensual event in its own right. A curious question I once received was, how can I actually enjoy my own release more? It struck me as not only valid, but deeply important. Ejaculation is more than just fluid leaving the body, it is the culmination of tension, arousal, and energy built over time. When dismissed as an accident or waste, men miss the chance to savor a moment that could be intensely pleasurable and even transformative. Think of it like wine tasting. You could gulp it down without thought, or you could swirl it. Notice its aroma, feel the texture, and allow the flavors to linger. In the same way, ejaculation deserves attention, mindfulness, and even reverence. When you choose to explore it rather than rush past it, the entire experience of masturbation shifts from routine to ritual. Instead of being something to hide or clean up quickly, it becomes a chance to deepen intimacy with yourself. The more you cultivate this perspective, the more satisfying and meaningful your self-pleasure becomes. Paragraph 2. Before diving into techniques, let's begin with something fundamental: the setting. The environment in which you touch yourself matters more than you might realize. Most men are accustomed to hurried, secretive moments under the covers, behind a locked door, or in a quick bathroom session. But when you reshape your environment, you reshape your experience. Imagine preparing your space the way you might for a romantic encounter with someone you desire. Dim the lights, play music that stirs your senses, let a candle flicker and perfume the air. Suddenly, your room transforms from a functional space into an atmosphere charged with anticipation and intimacy. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about signaling to your brain and body that what you're about to do is worthy of care and presence. Research on sexual arousal shows that external cues like lighting, sound, and even scent can heighten sensitivity and pleasure. When you honor yourself with a setting designed for pleasure, you are telling your body that you deserve to savor every second. Masturbation, then, evolves from a quick release into a form of self-love, where you are both the giver and receiver of passion. Paragraph 3. Privacy is often underestimated when it comes to self-pleasure, yet the ability to relax without fear of interruption is critical for deep arousal and enjoyment. Think of it as creating a sacred zone, a sanctuary where you can let go of tension, inhibition, and self-consciousness. When you know you are safe, your nervous system shifts from defense to openness, allowing arousal to flow more freely. In this environment, even simple touches can feel amplified, carrying more weight and intensity. Surroundings that invite stillness and comfort, whether soft sheets, warm lighting, or calming background sounds, encourage your body to open up like a flower responding to sunlight. You deserve more than rushed, mechanical moments. You deserve a stage set for pleasure. The truth is, making love to yourself is no less deserving of care than making love to someone else. Treat yourself as the beloved. Allow your body to bask in a space that says, you are safe, desired, and worthy of attention. When your environment supports this, your pleasure deepens, your orgasms expand, and even the act of ejaculating transforms into something profoundly satisfying. Paragraph 4. So much of male masturbation is done on autopilot, fast, goal-driven, focused solely on the orgasm. But what if you treated it not as a task to complete, but as an experience to savor? Slowing down is the key. When you take time to notice your breath, to feel the warmth of your skin, to pay attention to how your body responds, the entire act changes. You begin to cultivate awareness instead of rushing blindly toward climax. In mindfulness research, we see that slowing down enhances sensory perception. Touch becomes more nuanced, arousal more layered, pleasure more intense. Think of it like savoring a fine meal. Instead of shoveling it down, you pause, chew, taste, and appreciate. Masturbation deserves the same approach. The beauty of self-pleasure is that it's private and experimental. You have the freedom to explore without judgment. By approaching it with curiosity, patience, and awareness, you not only extend your enjoyment but also build a deeper, more intimate relationship with your body. Ultimately, orgasm becomes richer, not because it arrives faster, but because you've lived every moment leading to it. Paragraph 5. Engaging with your body mindfully doesn't mean monotony, it means experimentation. One of the most powerful practices is edging, bringing yourself near climax, then pausing, letting the arousal settle before building it again. Each wave intensifies the next, so that when you finally let go, the orgasm is explosive, far stronger than if you had rushed. But edging is just one pathway. You can change the tempo of your strokes, experiment with pressure, or even sync a movement with your breathing to deepen sensations. You might notice that inhaling while pausing at the tip, or exhaling as you stroke, changes the rhythm of arousal entirely. Neuroscience suggests that novelty stimulates the brain's reward system, which explains why changing small details can make masturbation feel exciting again. Think of it like learning a musical instrument. The same notes can sound new when played in a different rhythm. Your body is the instrument, and self-pleasure is the song. By experimenting with rhythm, technique, and control, you transform routine release into an art form. Paragraph 6. Exploration goes beyond technique. It's also about variety in touch, tools, and body positioning. Many men never stray from one posture, one hand, one motion, but the human body is wired to respond differently depending on angle, tension, and context. Try switching hands to activate new neural pathways. Experiment with lubricants of different textures, some silky, some thicker, each offering unique sensations. Even altering your position, lying down, kneeling, standing, creates subtle changes in muscle engagement and blood flow that translate into new erotic experiences. This variety prevents numbness and reawakens sensitivity. From a biological standpoint, novelty excites dopamine pathways, keeping the brain engaged and enhancing pleasure. Think of it like exploring landscapes. A mountain hike offers a different thrill than walking by the ocean. Both are beautiful, but contrast keeps the journey alive. By exploring new terrains of your own body, you remind yourself that arousal is not fixed, it's dynamic, versatile, and endlessly creative. This is how you reclaim masturbation not as a repetitive routine, but as an ongoing journey of discovery and delight. Paragraph 7. What sets male self-pleasure apart from female arousal is the unmistakable eruption at the end, ejaculation. It is not simply a finish line, but a complex biological event where muscles, nerves, and hormones synchronize in a surge of release. Most men allow semen to fall onto their chest or abdomen, simply because sitting or lying down makes that convenient. Yet this seemingly ordinary act carries deeper layers. It creates a direct visual bond. To watch your own body expel tension in such a visible way is like witnessing the climax of a symphony, the final burst of sound after a long crescendo. At the same time, it is tactile, warm liquid touching skin, grounding you in the rawness of sensation. This dual experience, sight and touch combined, elevates the moment into something memorable. If one chooses to pay attention, ejaculation is not only the conclusion but also a performance, where you are both the actor and the audience, immersed in the spectacle of your own pleasure. Paragraph 8. The human brain is wired to respond powerfully to visual stimuli during arousal. Watching oneself ejaculate therefore activates more than physical sensation, it excites cognitive circuits of recognition and reward. The release becomes tangible proof of desire fulfilled, a biological signature of arousal that you can actually see. Meanwhile, the skin becomes an extension of the experience, registering warmth, texture, and movement as semen makes contact. This layering of input, sight and touch intensifies the memory of orgasm. Our culture has long emphasized this through pornography, where ejaculation is staged as the ultimate marker of climax. Yet the beauty of private exploration is reclaiming that symbol for yourself. You don't need a camera crew or scripted scenario to validate the moment. Instead, you can let your eyes linger, notice the movement, and give yourself permission to savor the scene. Rather than wiping it away immediately, pause and acknowledge it. Such a small shift can reshape the entire narrative, from something messy and disposable to something celebratory, personal, and worth experiencing fully. Paragraph 9. Ejaculation does not have to be the end point you rush past. It can be an extension of pleasure itself. Semen, often dismissed as waste, is in fact a fluid rich in proteins, minerals, and hormones, but beyond its biology. It is a symbol of your body's culmination of desire. When it touches your skin, it offers warmth, texture, and novelty. Some men choose to rub it lightly across their chest or abdomen, not for utility, but to prolong the intimacy of their orgasm. Like an artist exploring a new medium, you can use curiosity to engage with its texture, its feel, and its symbolism. The purpose isn't to assign practical meaning but to stretch the sensual aftermath, to make the end of orgasm feel less like a drop-off and more like a lingering glow. Of course, this isn't for everyone. Comfort levels vary, but for those willing to explore, it can turn something once ignored into a new sensory frontier. What matters most is not the substance itself, but the choice to remain present, playful, and open to discovery even after the peak has passed. Paragraph 10. Technology and reflection can also transform how you experience climax. Filming yourself or using a mirror during masturbation may at first feel unusual, but it grants a perspective rarely seen. You might notice subtleties, the way your jaw tightens, how your breath quickens, or the ripple of tension across your body as orgasm builds. This is more than erotic play, it is self-study, a form of erotic mindfulness. Observing yourself can heighten arousal, but it also increases self-awareness, offering insights into patterns you never realized. For those in relationships, sharing such recordings consensually can deepen intimacy, giving your partner a window into your vulnerability and raw pleasure. Importantly, this is not about judgment. It is about curiosity, exploration, and broadening your understanding of your body. Like a painter sketching their own reflection, you learn to see yourself differently. Sometimes, just by watching yourself surrender, you can amplify the power of the moment and realize that pleasure has as much to do with perception as it does with sensation. Paragraph 11. Self-exploration can lean toward the playful, even the taboo. When you experiment with unexpected surfaces, traditionally, men limit ejaculation to their body or tissues. But imagine letting it fall onto polished wood, cool tile, or another unfamiliar surface. The act can feel transgressive, as though you're breaking a small rule of order. Psychologically, this violation of routine triggers excitement. It creates a sense of rebellion, of boldness. That thrill of "I shouldn't be doing this" is often what makes it feel so intensely arousing. In reality, it is safe, private, and easily cleaned, but the mind interprets it as daring. Just as a dancer improvises outside the boundaries of a choreographed routine, you give yourself permission to be unrestrained. This simple change shifts the story of orgasm from something repetitive and to something adventurous. In that moment, climax is not only about release, but about freedom, about allowing your body to express itself in ways your logical mind might otherwise resist. That small dose of rule breaking can make the pleasure more memorable, vivid, and alive. Paragraph 12. Exploring surfaces is more than mischief, it is novelty. And novelty is the lifeblood of arousal. Neuroscience shows that the brain thrives on change, rewarding us with heightened dopamine when patterns are broken. Ejaculating onto a different surface might initially feel awkward or even guilty, but that tension is precisely what amplifies the thrill. It is a form of safe risk, a private adventure where nothing is harmed, yet boundaries are tested. Think of hiking an unmarked trail. Your heart beats faster, your breath sharpens, and each step feels heightened because of the unknown. Sexual exploration works the same way. By daring to step outside the script of routine, you discover layers of sensation and psychology you hadn't tapped before. Orgasm becomes not just a biological event but a game of mind and body, where you are both the explorer and the treasure. What begins as a small variation in setting becomes a profound reminder that pleasure is not fixed, it is dynamic, evolving, and always richer when you allow yourself to experiment. Paragraph 13. Sexual exploration often walks the line between playful rebellion and personal curiosity. For some men, releasing on unconventional surfaces can spark a sense of mischief, a guilty pleasure that flirts with taboo. That naughty boy feeling is not about actual wrongdoing, but about the thrill of stepping outside routine. Psychology teaches us that when behavior breaks from the expected, the brain often rewards it with heightened arousal. You may find it liberating, or perhaps humorous, or maybe it even stirs a trace of guilt, but each response provides insight into how your erotic imagination works. The important thing is to notice how you feel in the aftermath, to reflect on whether it energized you, amused you, or left you unsettled. None of these reactions are wrong, they are simply part of the broader language of your sexual self. Curiosity is the true lesson here. To play, to try, to question how your body and mind respond, these are all valid parts of erotic growth. Pleasure does not exist in a vacuum, it is shaped by context, sensation, and the meaning you attach to the experience. Paragraph 14. Some men push experimentation further, even incorporating their own ejaculate into nutrition rituals, such as mixing it into a shake. While unconventional, the motivation often comes from curiosity and the desire to eroticize the ordinary. Biochemically, semen does contain proteins, minerals, and trace nutrients, but its nutritional impact is negligible compared to the symbolic act itself. The power lies in what it represents, a merging of sexuality and daily life, of intimacy and sustenance. For those who choose this path, it is not about efficiency but about amplifying a forbidden thrill. However, boundaries are essential, consent and respect remain paramount. What you choose for yourself is your domain, but involving others without permission crosses into harm. Within personal exploration, though, indulging in such a practice can heighten your sense of control over desire and deepen your erotic imagination. It's a reminder that sexuality is not limited to intercourse or climax alone, it can weave into unexpected aspects of daily life. To some, this may seem bizarre, to others, it is a profound statement of ownership over their own pleasure. Paragraph 15. No matter how you choose to release, hygiene is the foundation that protects both safety and dignity. Ejaculation can be playful, messy, and experimental, but afterward the responsibility of care must follow. Having a towel or cleaning solution nearby is not simply practical, it sets a framework of respect for your body and your environment. When pleasure leaves physical evidence on shared surfaces, such as a kitchen counter or a living space, the ethical duty is to clean thoroughly. Using strong disinfectants when necessary ensures that exploration never becomes unhygienic or invasive. In sexual psychology, respect and responsibility are not enemies of desire, they are the conditions that allow experimentation to thrive. When you trust yourself to maintain safety, you give permission to indulge more freely. Think of it as choreography. The wild improvisation of orgasm must eventually meet the discipline of care. By striking that balance, you reinforce that pleasure is not opposed to mindfulness. They can coexist beautifully, ensuring that erotic exploration remains joyful, private, and free from regret. Paragraph 16. One of the most overlooked parts of male self-pleasure is what happens after the orgasm itself. Many men treat climax as the finish line, immediately shifting back to work, scrolling, or sleep. But neuroscience shows that the minutes following orgasm hold a unique state. Oxytocin and prolactin peak. The nervous system settles, and the body enters a rare calm. This afterglow is a space to be savored. By lying still, breathing slowly, and gently touching your body, you allow this glow to expand. It doesn't require long. Even 3 minutes of mindfulness can transform your perception. Rather than rushing, you cultivate gratitude for your body, for the release, for the vitality you carry. Pleasure is not only the explosion of climax but also the quiet hum that follows. A subtle gift many men rob themselves of. To pause here is to acknowledge that orgasm is not an endpoint but a state of being. When honored, this moment deepens intimacy with yourself and can leave you more energized, centered, and connected than if you had rushed back into distraction. Paragraph 17. Reflection is another tool for expanding sexual fulfillment. Keeping a journal of your experiences may sound clinical, but in practice it becomes a map of desire. By recording what thrilled you, what felt awkward, and what left you curious, you transform solo sex into an adventure of continuous discovery. Over time, patterns emerge. Perhaps certain settings heighten arousal, or certain techniques intensify release. These notes provide feedback to tailor future encounters, gradually refining pleasure until you reach new heights you never thought possible. Psychology affirms that self-observation builds self-awareness, which in turn enhances satisfaction. What begins as simple documentation evolves into a record of erotic growth, a way of charting your body's language of desire. This transforms masturbation from repetition into research, from habit into exploration. And with each experiment, each reflection, you step closer to discovering forms of pleasure that surprise and delight you. Experiences that feel not only satisfying but transformative. Moments where you say to yourself, "I didn't know my body could feel this." Paragraph 18. Ultimately, sexual exploration thrives when guided by curiosity, safety, and consent. The goal is not to try every idea, but to discover which ones resonate with you, and to do so in ways that respect boundaries yours and others. Sharing playful stories or unusual experiments can inspire, but always within the framework of responsibility. At its core, masturbation is not merely a release, it is self-care, ritual, and a celebration of your erotic self. When treated with attention, it strengthens confidence, extends endurance, and enriches intimacy both alone and with partners. This perspective shifts self-pleasure from something trivial into something valuable, a practice that nourishes body and mind alike. It is about granting yourself permission to enjoy without shame, to explore without fear, and to celebrate without apology. In this sense, masturbation becomes an art form, an evolving practice where pleasure is both the method and the reward. And like any art, the more presence, imagination, and respect you bring, the more extraordinary the experience becomes. Thank you for listening until the very end. If today's story has gently stirred your heart, whether through an old memory, a present feeling, or something never spoken into words, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Intimate wisdom is where we come together to touch the hidden corners of love, affection, and sexuality, things that may seem private, yet are in fact the very core of happiness. I wish you to always love deeply, live truthfully, and find yourself in every glance, every touch, and every trembling heartbeat. Affectionate greetings.